Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat down to study, opened your laptop, and suddenly you're doing five things at once without even realizing it? You're taking notes, checking WhatsApp, switching tabs, replying to a friend, and somehow also watching a study motivation video in the background like that's gonna fix it? Yeah, that was literally me. I used to brag about multitasking like it was some kind of superpower. Like, oh yeah, I can study chemistry, reply to messages, scroll Instagram, and listen to music all at once. I thought I was being efficient. But the truth, I was burning my brain into mashed potatoes. One day, after a particularly chaotic study session where I got nothing done, I wondered, what if multitasking isn't productivity? What if it's the reason I'm always stressed, tired, and behind on my goals? So I made a decision. For 1 week, I would stop multitasking completely. No switching tabs, no bouncing between apps, no quick checks. Just one task at a time. And what happened next, no joke, completely changed the way my brain works. This is the story of how that experiment went and why it might be the one thing you need right now. The first day felt like trying to walk with my shoelaces tied together. I didn't realize how addicted I was to switching tasks until I forced myself not to. I sat down to study math, opened my notes, took a deep breath, and within 30 seconds, my brain was already like, maybe check your phone real quick. It was like dealing with the toddler version of my own mind. Every little distraction felt urgent. A notification buzzed, and I actually had to stop my hand from reaching for my phone. That's when I realized something scary. I wasn't multitasking because I needed to. I was multitasking because my brain was constantly searching for stimulation. I wasn't bored. I was overstimulated. So for day one, I didn't focus on being perfect. I focused on noticing my habits. Every time I wanted to switch tasks, I wrote down what triggered it. Boredom, stress, confusion, even silence made me uncomfortable. But here's the weird part. By the end of the day, I started feeling calmer. Not more productive, but calmer. It was like my brain was finally slowing down enough to breathe. Day one wasn't a win, but it was an eye-opening wake-up call. On day two, something clicked. I remembered a video I watched once saying that multitasking isn't even real. Our brain doesn't do two things at once. It switches rapidly between tasks, burning energy every time it shifts. Suddenly, everything made sense. That's why I was always tired even when I didn't do much. That's why my focus felt glitchy. So I decided to actually lean into the science. I created a single task environment. One notebook, one pen, one tab open at a time. I even put my phone in another room like it was a toxic ex. And guess what? It felt weirdly peaceful. With no distractions, my brain started diving deeper into tasks instead of skating on the surface. I read faster, understood concepts better, even took better notes. And every time my mind tried to wander, I gently brought it back like, hey buddy, we're doing one thing right now. Small correction, big impact. I wasn't expecting results so fast, but I could feel something shifting. My brain wasn't glitching anymore. It was functioning with clarity I hadn't felt in a long time. Day 3 was brutal. Honestly, this was the point I almost quit. My brain was craving chaos like an addiction. I'd be studying, and suddenly I'd think of a YouTube video I wanted to watch. Or I'd remember I needed to respond to someone. Or I'd get curious about a random fact like, how long would it take to learn Italian fluently? And boom, my brain wanted to open a new tab. It felt like mental withdrawal. And I realized the truth. Multitasking wasn't just a habit, it was my escape. Every time something got hard or confusing, I switched tasks because it felt easier. But doing one thing at a time forced me to face discomfort I'd been avoiding. The confusion, the boredom, the challenge. So instead of quitting, I made a deal with myself to stick with the discomfort for just 2 minutes. That was it. And slowly, the urge to escape started fading. Not completely, but enough to keep going. It was the hardest day, but also the day I proved to myself that I was in control, not my impulses. By day 4 and 5, something magical started happening. Tasks felt easier. I wasn't fighting my attention anymore. I wasn't switching every 30 seconds. I could sit with a single task for 20, sometimes 30 minutes without feeling like my brain was crawling out of my skull. I finished school assignments faster, I remembered more, even had more free time because I wasn't wasting hours bouncing between distractions. The best part? For the first time in a long time, my mind felt quiet. That heavy fog I always carried? Gone. That mental pressure? Gone. I didn't realize how exhausting multitasking had been until I stopped. It was like removing a weight I didn't know I was carrying. I even started noticing tiny moments, like the sound of my pen, the way sunlight hit my desk, the satisfaction of finishing a paragraph without interruption. Small things, but they felt grounding, like I was finally living in one moment at a time. And honestly, it felt amazing. By day 6, I started seeing changes I didn't expect. My memory improved. I could recall things I read earlier without struggling. Conversations felt clearer because I wasn't half listening and half texting. My stress levels dropped because my brain wasn't juggling 10 things at once. I even slept better because my mind wasn't overstimulated all day. But the biggest change was this. I became present. When I studied, I studied. When I ate, I ate. When I relaxed, I actually relaxed, not doom scrolling. My life slowed down in the best way possible. I started doing things with intention instead of autopilot chaos. Multitasking had made me feel productive, but single tasking made me effective. My days felt structured, calm, and meaningful. And I realized if 1 week could change this much, imagine a month. Imagine a year. Imagine living a life where your brain isn't constantly overloaded but fully engaged. That's a different level of peace. On the last day of the challenge, I asked myself, did this really change anything or am I just imagining it? So I tested it. I tried multitasking again, just for a few minutes. Immediately, I felt the difference. My focus shattered. My brain felt scattered again. I lost track of what I was doing, and for the first time ever, multitasking felt wrong. That's when I knew this experiment had changed me for real. The biggest thing I learned? We don't struggle with productivity because we're lazy. We struggle because our brains are overstimulated and exhausted. Multitasking drains us. Single tasking frees us. And once you taste that clarity, you never want to go back. This wasn't just a productivity experiment. It felt like hitting a reset button on my mind. And I realized something kind of emotional. My brain deserved better than constant chaos. It deserved rest, focus, and peace. Here's the truth. Stopping multitasking for a week didn't just make me more productive. It made me calmer, happier, and more present. I learned that focus isn't something you're born with. It's something you train, one task at a time, one moment at a time. And if you're someone who feels overwhelmed, distracted, burnt out, or stuck, this might be the challenge you need. Try it for one day, one task at a time. No switching tabs, no bouncing between apps, no quick checks. Just complete the moment you're in. I promise your brain will thank you. And if you do try it, comment below, I'm starting today. I'll reply to as many as I can. If you want more videos on productivity, habits, and leveling up your life, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're building a community of people who want to get better. Slowly, realistically, sustainably. Let's level up together, one focused step at a time.